endure high gas prices for the good of the planet, says UN Chief Guterres. What is going on? Soaring gas prices must be endured because rushing to use fossil fuels because of the Ukraine events is madness and threatens global climate targets, according to U.S. Secretary General Antonio Guterres. In a pre-recorded address to the Economist Sustainability Summit, Guterres claims that should countries become so consumed by the immediate fossil fuel supply gap that they neglect to or kneecap policies to cut fossil fuel use, a climate disaster would be the guaranteed outcome, he says. Breitbart reports the Ukraine crisis has been seeing rises in prices of coal, oil, and gas as countries scramble to replace Russian sources, but Guterres fears these short-term measures might close the window on the Paris climate goals. BBC reports the veteran Portuguese socialist Guterres also called on countries to fully phase out stupid, quote-unquote, coal by the year 2040 and endure the financial costs without complaint. Can you imagine? How are we supposed to replace our energy supplies? In his first major speech on climate and energy since COP26, Guterres lamented the limited progress achieved in Glasgow is insufficient to ward off dangerous climate change. Guterres said carbon output needs to be cut in half by the end of this decade, even as evidence shows emissions are set to rise by 14%. The problem was not solved in Glasgow, he said, and he pleaded in the speech. He said, in fact, the problem is getting worse. The Ukraine crisis threatens to make the situation even more problematic, he said, with global energy shortages being turned around by countries that embrace coal or imports of liquefied natural gas as alternative sources. Some globalist agencies have already said walking rather than driving must be considered an alternative in times of fuel shortages. So we should walk or ride our bike or maybe go back to the horse and carriage. Guterres, well, that's just my comment. Guterres said long-term planning is essential to ensure the planet can be saved. He said countries could become so consumed by the immediate fossil fuel supply gap that they neglect or kneecap policies to cut fossil fuel use. Countries must, he said, accelerate the phase out of coal and all fossil fuels and implement a rapid and sustainable energy transition without delay. This is by Neam Harris on News Punch. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.